the Horse Khan, son of a Khan. Once upon a time there was a great Khan, and this Khan had 3 beautiful daughters. The first was called Silk, the second was called Pearl, and the third, the youngest, was called Zephyr. One day the Khan said to the 3 girls, "Come, daughters, it is time that you were married. The first shall marry my court poet, who is also a great swordsman. The second shall marry my standard-bearer, who is also a valiant knight. As to the third one, well, I shall come to that later." The 2 girls were duly married, and the celebration of their weddings occupied twice 40 days and 40 nights, with sherbets and bonfires, feasts of jollity, gifts, and everything that could make a great occasion. Then the Khan said to some of his men, "I am tired of all this frivolity. I think that I shall go hunting." They all set out, accompanied by a splendorous retinue, and arrived at a ruined castle on a hill. "We shall camp here for the night," said the Khan. No sooner had he laid himself down to rest than a huge dev, a giant ogre, came rising straight out of the ground and towered in front of him. "Peace upon you," muttered the Khan. "How fortunate that you should have saluted me. If you had not, I would have eaten you alive," roared the dev. "What can I do for you?" asked the Khan. "There is, alas, nothing that anyone can do for me now," said the dev, "because I have been trapped in a deep well just below where you are sleeping, and I am allowed out only at night when there is nobody awake to terrorize." "I am glad about that," said the Khan, "but who is it that has the power to catch and imprison the enemies of man in this amazing manner, since Suleiman the son of David, upon whom be peace, is no more upon the earth?" "Do you remember the meek dervish who called and saluted you during your daughter's wedding celebrations?" asked the dev. "Well, it was him." "That dervish!" exclaimed the Khan. "But he did nothing to me, although I did not obey his instructions in any particular." "You have a second chance," said the dev, "because he always tells one twice. He told me to give up my abominable ways twice too, but I did not believe that he had any powers." So saying, the dev gave a deep sigh. "I must return to my well now," he said, and sank back into the ground. The next morning the Khan woke at dawn and immediately returned to his capital. No sooner had he sat down in his audience chamber and the drums announcing the durbar began to beat, than the same inoffensive-looking dervish presented himself for an audience. "O Khan," he said, "I have come to give you a present. You have married your daughters off in haste. I agree that it was to worthy men, but it was without consulting a dervish." "Yes," said the Khan, "I am sorry about that." "Well," said the dervish, "you now have another chance, but it will be a hard one. Take this horse and marry your daughter to it." The Khan was not sure whether he could believe his ears, but he decided that he should do as he was commanded. He sent his daughter to the horse's stable and made her live there. What he did not know, and neither did anyone else, was that as soon as Zephyr entered the stable it was transformed into a beautiful and luxurious bower, and the horse was really a magical man, a youth who could change into human form again only when he was with a beautiful maiden. "I am myself a Khan and the son of a Khan," he told her, "and I am here to teach trustworthiness. This is the only way in which it can be done. Remember, therefore, that no matter how tempted, you must never disclose that I am a man." Zephyr promised him, and even when there were rumors that she was married to a horse or to someone beneath her, she said nothing. Now the day came when the Khan announced the annual feast and fair at which the most valorous men in the land were to compete in feats of arms. The ladies Pearl and Silk looked admiringly upon their husbands as they rode into the arena, mounted on wonderful chargers, to defend their titles as the foremost warriors in the land. "We have heard something about your husband, sister," they said to Zephyr, "but perhaps this is a time to watch manly daring and admire excellence in combat, rather than to talk of mysterious things." In bout after bout, contest after contest, the court poet and the standard-bearer overcame their opponents. The applause was heard from Herat to Badakhshan, and the clanging of spears, the buzzing of arrows, and the clash of swords was mingled with the thundering of hooves and the flashing of accoutrements as the champions prevailed again and again against the men of all High Asia. And as one bout followed another, as one gasp of excitement, one round of applause, one cry of triumph followed another, Bibi Zephyr found herself more and more wishing that she could say that her husband was a Khan, son of a Khan, and could, if he wished, beat all comers on the field that day. The contests were to last 3 days, and on the second night the Horse Khan said to his wife, "Khanum, I shall take the field tomorrow. I know how much you have yearned to see me acquit myself. Tomorrow you shall. But let me warn you, this will be a severe test for both of us. Tell nobody that I am your husband, no matter how strong the temptation. And if anything should go wrong, take these 3 horsehairs. If you need me, burn one of them. Remember, too, that there are only 3 of them." The next morning, as the heralds were announcing the names of the champions left in the contests, a strange knight with a steel skullcap and a crimson turban wound around his face, almost covering it, incomparably well mounted, rode into the arena. When Zephyr saw that his banner showed only a huge horseshoe, she knew that it must be her husband. The Horse Khan took on his 2 brothers-in-law both at once, wrestling on horseback, and with the blunted lance, the long sword, and the dagger. He vanquished both of them in a few minutes. Zephyr's sisters were half in tears and half excited to know who the mysterious stranger was. As he went on to dispose of all the champions, sometimes one by one, sometimes in groups, Zephyr could not restrain herself any longer, and she told her father, sitting beside her, "That is the Khan, the son of a Khan, and he is my husband, married to me in the form of a horse. He is a magical man, here to try our patience." The Khan, remembering that the horse had been given to him by the dervish, said, "This is a serious business, daughter. You have broken your word and failed the test. I fear for you and for us, for it is we who have trained you so badly that faults have become apparent under stress." As he said this, the Horse Khan left the field. That evening, when she went to her apartments, the Bibi Zephyr found a letter from her husband. It said, "I knew by the weakness which seized me on the field today that you have told someone my secret. I have had to go, and I may never see you again." Zephyr was beside herself with grief. Suddenly she remembered the 3 hairs and burned one. Immediately the Dev from the well, which her father had seen on the hunting trip, appeared. "I did not want you," said Zephyr. "You must have been thinking some evil thought as you burned that hair," said the Dev, "because that is how these things work." "How can I get rid of you?" asked Zephyr. "Only by calling the dervish," said the Dev. Zephyr used her second hair to make the dervish appear. Within a few seconds he had banished the Dev to his well and had himself vanished. And then she thought as hard as she could, and burned the 3rd hair, asking for her husband to come. "Now there is no more that we can do. I am no longer a horse, but an ordinary man, and a Khan, son of a Khan again. We can now live happily until the end of our days. But never forget that if we had been able to use the 3 magical hairs better and not spend them on our own welfare, It would have been better for everyone.